All right, guys, what's going on? I figured that for this video, we're going to have to do a change of scenery because of what we're talking about today, right? And so we're talking about some other stuff. So we're in the garage right now. So if I take you on a quick tour, behind me, we have the tool pointer, if you will, right? So we got hella tools over here. And so the reason why we're here is we're talking about car flipping, uh, phone flips, a bunch of different things that happen. So, we'll get into the details, I guess, on in terms. And I hope you like my pigtails because that's how my wife did me. Um, but so we're talking about today is the whole evolution, I guess, if you will. And I know I'm exaggerating, but so basically this mechanic stuff, this phone flipping stuff, I guess I'll give you the good and the bad first, right? So when it came to doing phone flips, it was actually really fun because I've lost $5,000 when it came to phone flips, and that's all because I didn't know what I was doing. So this was one of the grandiose mistakes that I've made in my career, if you will, when it comes to doing uh, flips. That was probably my biggest fail. So let's just get into it. Fixing cars, flipping phones, and selling dreams. So, my name is Emmanuel Velasco. In case you guys didn't know, I'm a professional failure. I learned through just not necessarily failing, but making mistakes and tweaking how I could not do those mistakes again. And so, I'm on a mission to help 7,200 people learn everything I know, from mindset to business to beyond, so that they can each help another 7,200 people do the same. And before I get into this, let's talk about meditations because this is my pride and joy, basically, because it's sealed. And the only thing that I needed from this book is the words right here in the back. And it says, if someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I shall gladly change. I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone. The harm is to persist in one's own self deception and ignorance. Also, if you guys are interested, maybe later on, not in this video because I'm sure it should be its own video itself, but we could go through all the different tools I have here. Like literally behind me right here, you can see it, like there's a bunch of toolkits, and all these different toolkits right here, like all those, a bunch of fucking things in itself. And then plus we have the toolbox right here. You're sitting on a portable toolbox, and then we have a toolbox right there in the back. But anyways, let's get into it. So, fixing phones. So, in the past, there was a time when I was like, man, I should, well, here's what really happened. The truth behind me fixing phones and stuff, I did fix a couple of them, right? I sold a couple of them, um, but a lot of them were duds. And I didn't know why they were duds, or I knew why they were duds, but I didn't know how to undud them, which is iCloud Unlock. When a phone is iCloud unlocked, it's literally you roll of the dice. Maybe not. You'll unlock it, right? And so I was able to unlock a few of them, but the unlock it's just very costly. Like it costs 100 at the time, at least. It was like 150 or something like that bucks, and it's still not guaranteed if it'll be unlocked all at the same time. So basically, you throw money. Maybe it happens. Maybe it doesn't. It is what it is. And so the reason why I got into fixing these phones and stuff is literally because I went and my laptop, my Mac, took a shit and the battery broke. And so I had to go ahead and replace the battery in there. And so what did I do? I went online, I looked up a replacement kit. And well, first I looked up how much it would cost to have somebody fix it for me. And I was like, yeah, fuck that. I could just buy some tools and do it myself. And so I don't have those. I actually do have those iFixit tools. I would show you, but it's in the office because obviously computer shit with computer shit. And so when I went ahead, fixed it. It wasn't that bad. It was just taking off basically the back plate of the thing, and then just taking off some connectors, taking off a few screws. Maybe within 15 or so screws, battery is replaced. And so because it was that simple, I was like, man, like what does it look like for a phone? Let me see that. And so I looked it up. I saw how simple the process it was. And so I kind of went crazy. I was like, man, I'm gonna just start buying phones. Fuck it. And so I'm looking on Macari, I'm looking on Facebook, I'm looking on all these different places of how to get some phones shipped to me. I ended up getting, oh man, I wish I had a picture. I probably do have a picture of this. I know I have videos of me like actually fixing these phones and stuff. Probably on a different phone though that I don't have on me. But I have plenty of content on that for myself, archived for myself because it was my own failure, right? And so it was $5,000 of devices, batteries, screens. So what I did is I got maybe 20 something phones, I want to say. They're iPhone, all iPhones, right? That was my main focus was just iPhones because I just use iPhone, so I might as well just fix the iPhone so I know what I'm using and how to fix what I'm using. Unfortunately, iPhone, I want to say 12 plus, they you need a special machine or something like that to actually fix these iPhones because of iPhone, the way they did it. And so because of that, they ended up I ended up having some that were iCloud unlocked, some that weren't iCloud unlocked, what have you. I wasn't worried about it because I figured I could fix it. So I go ahead, once I got the phones in, I looked at all the phones, what it is I need, order all the screens, order all the parts. And so I go through, fixing them and stuff. It's just switching hardware. It's not really that crazy. So it's like, I don't want to say it's kind of like taking a tire off and putting it back on because simple shit gets complicated usually. And so go ahead, grab all these phones, start fixing them, and then realize that yeah, this was a mistake. And so, in order to make my 5,000 mistake less than 5,000, sometimes you gotta cut your losses. What I've learned from working on cars, selling cars and stuff, sometimes you just gotta sell it. You just gotta sell it, get rid of it, the headache, take the loss, and then move on. Right. So that's what I had to do. And so I ended up recuperating about, I want to say give or take 3 grand from that 5 grand. So not too bad, but of course not what I wanted to do at the same time. And so that was the phone fixing. But honestly, phone fixing is so simple. Like you could literally do it in your car. You just need like a few tools really to do it. It's like with 5, 10 maybe max tools, because there's a scraper, there's the screwdriver, and then one the bits, right? But that's practically it. That's all you need really, and then something to like push the tabs open. So fairly simple across the board. All right, so that was phone flipping. Not my greatest story, probably my worst fix flipping story, right? All right, let's get into fixing cars as a mechanic. This is where I made a decent amount of money. I mean, as you can see, I got a decent amount of stuff here. So it's like it gets kind of hectic. We got a pretty decent amount of stuff. So when it comes to car stuff, car stuff is not as complicated as people make it seem, but at the same time, when you get into sticky situations, you really got to use this noggin in order to solve those problems and push past that. So, for example, a regular maintenance job is like what most people don't understand is like there's oil, right? So you change your oil, which is right here, right? You change your oil. Oh, you can see that. Valvoline. Shout out to Valvoline. Sponsor me if you watching this video, which you probably not. But Valvoline, right? Or oil, right? So we have oil, then we have transmission fluid, which is back here. We got transmission fluid. So those are two like basic fluids that people, you know of, right? They don't ever change their transmission fluid, though. Believe that, but they change their oil at least, hopefully some. And so there's so many more fluids than just oil. There's the brake fluid, right? And so if you get too much water in your brakes, then your brakes don't work. And over time, you just naturally get water in your brakes. So you have to like do flushes, ideally every 2 years. But there is a tool actually that is right here, probably. Boom. This little good old tool. You turn her on, you see that light, and then you dip these prongs into the oil, and if it stays green, you're good. If it doesn't, then you're fucked. Basically. But that one tells you like pretty simply in 2 seconds. Of course, I didn't always have that tool. But so when it comes to mechanic stuff, it's very simple. It's just, you take the nut off or the bolt, and then that's it. You take the shit apart. But most of the times, it's not that simple because you got to use techniques and stuff. But the amount of money that could be made because it's not that simple and because people are wary of it. And I actually saw this clip on Facebook earlier today. This guy, he lifts up the car with a jack. I'll show you the jack. We we have more of a mechanic section, so we got bigger equipment over here, and this is my real oil section. That over there is like low oil. But anyways, we have the jack, right? Oh, that's kind of hard to see. All right, so we have the jack. Cool. So he pumps it up in the jack. He has a jack stand. I'm like, wow, he's doing it very properly. This is great on the guy. And so he's doing it properly. But then he's like, all right, I got let down. Boom. He just twists that thing and bah, it just smacks right down. And so he fucks up his car. Luckily, it didn't fall off the jack. Luckily. Now, the problem is though, is that that is one of the most simple things to do is lift up your car and put that shit properly. But that's the foundational step. And so understanding that people are out there who really are not mechanically inclined, and so it's very difficult for them to do these things. And so now understanding that, it puts me in a place where um it's like, okay, now I see the true value behind what I do because or what I did, right? Because most people don't realize how simple it is to do. And so let me just quickly go over here, maybe hit you guys with a little bit of better light because we do have light all over the place. That's much better in terms of quality, if you will. Um, so mechanic stuff, right? Going back into it, there's basic tools that you need. So you could really get away with buying $500 worth of tools and be ready to go to start working on people's cars. And so, like the most basic of the basic, right, is that you need, at the very least, you need a ratchet, right? At the very least, you need some sockets. And at the very least, you need some wrenches. I would show you the wrenches, but I really don't feel like undoing that. This is all like right here in this box. That's why I really should do a video going through stuff. But like basically, with this one top chest, I can fix a whole bunch of different things with this top chest right here, which is exactly where you're sitting on, actually. But so not that many tools to really do it. Like literally, I started with this bag right here. Literally this bag, actually these two bags right here. So that's a bag too, right? And I just had all my tools in there, just dumped in there. It wasn't organized like it is now, right? I didn't have the toolbox. I had this toolbox in the back, but that bitch too big to do anything with, right? To do it in the car. So I started off literally in a Nissan Altima, a sedan, had all this shit in the trunk. Maybe some, no, it was just in the trunk. I didn't need to use the back seat. All of that shit was in the trunk. And so most of my time was spent sifting through tools to figure out which tool do I need. Solved that problem by actually doing tool storage and doing that properly, tool organization, right? But so when it came down to it, literally fixing cars, it's like start fixing your own car, right? Start playing around with your own car, tinkering with family members' cars and stuff like that. Because that's how. Before I was working for as a mechanic, but I did start working on my family's car as well on the side, right? And so that's how I really got my start is by fixing other people's or the ones closest to me first, and then I expanded out to everybody else, right? And so that's the best way to start is to like literally start fixing your own shit. Like, look, this these skills are so helpful that this lawnmower right here, right? That lawnmower was garbage. Somebody literally put it in the trash. And all I had to do, I didn't fix it fully yet. So like for example, this this cable right here, to pull it, it doesn't work, right? So I had to rig it up a little bit to do that. But it was leaking oil out of a cover. And so that oil was leaking, boom, and a lawnmower gets hot, and so it was creating smoke. And what was the solve for that? Tying up the bolt. That's it. Tying up the bolt. That's literally all I did, and the rest of it is history. I just tied up the bolt, and I literally used a. Damn, I don't have it on me right here. I would find it, but I could care less. But all I needed was a vice grip. I put the vice grip there, and then boom, I could start it up, and it just runs forever basically until I undo that vice grip. But it's like that's all this, not all the person needs to do. It needs a cable basically, and that's it. And then this is ready to go brand new, right? And so because of this skill, I was able to quickly grab this thing and then turn around and fix it instantly. Like that's and somebody threw that out for free, right? So this gives you opportunities to really start grabbing things and creating them into your own thing. So like this is where we're getting into, selling the dream, if you will. Because by you being able to have these skills, it literally opens you up to like a bunch of different avenues of what you can do. So like now it's like apparently how like I said in a previous video, all these tools I have, I could do AC with, I could basically build a house with. I have so many different drills and attachments and stuff like that. Of course, I could use more. I could always use more tools, right, baby? I'm sure you're watching this. Um, so I could always use more tools. That's a given. But with the tools I have, not only can I do the maintenance on my car, I could fix a lawnmower that's seemingly on its last leg, apparently to most other people. And so all these things gave me the opportunity, the skill to see more opportunities because now even a car, if I was to show you, I have a transit van. That transit van is not working as it should right now, and so we're in the process of fixing it. The only reason why it's not working as it should, it got taken to the dealership multiple times for this specific issue. And why I believe is wrong is that the dealership that worked on it, they probably switched the wiring a little bit, and so now it kind of fucked up the electrical system. So that's a fun game to play with, right? But so that gave me the opportunity. This van should cost me 3 grand. It cost me 1,400 at least to buy it, right? Then there's the you gotta pay the DMV, all those fees and registration and all that shit, and then it's like, damn, that's a lot of money. But even so, I'm able to buy that. I got the parts specifically. If you're looking for cheaper parts on your car, you should go to Rock Auto. That's why I use literally. Look, let me just prove it to you. That's all I use right here. All these stickers come from Rock Auto, and I know this is not all the stickers I have, but I didn't care to like actually, stick the stickers anywhere until recently. So you could literally buy these tools for cheap. If you see AutoZone prices for practically the 50% of the price of whatever the job is. It could be like a brake job, let's say. You do the full brake job, and it's like, if you call a dealership, you could even call a dealership. They'll probably tell you like 1,100 bucks to do all the rotors and stuff like that. You could literally get away with $300 in parts. Buy that, put it on yourself, done for $300. Of course, you need tools and stuff. So if you have to buy tools, it might be more expensive. But even so, let's say you buy tools and it costs you the same. Now you have tools to actually do the thing over and over and over again, and not just at one time, right? For the simple use case. But so fixing cars, it expands you into many different realms because you're dealing with electrical. So that's the electrician shit, right? You're dealing with plumbing. That's the coolant, right? Most people don't change the coolant. They just leave that the same. They change the oil. They maybe change the transmission fluid, but most of them just stick to the oil. That's it. That's it. Change the oil. Everything else, screw that, right? And so, to tell you a quick story about coolant, there was it's simple, right? It's just taking some bolts off, and then that's it. Well, what sucked about this job, I was working on this truck, and the previous person who worked on this truck, when they did this, because I had to change the thermostat, which, if you guys don't know, the thermostat is something that opens when it gets too hot to let the water cool down faster, and then it closes to warm up the car or what have you, right? So it has its cycles, right? And so um, I'm taking off the bolt, and I already feel like, yeah, when you do this long enough, you could feel that this bolt is not in there properly. is cross-threaded, which means that they literally just shoved it in there and said, fuck it. It was hard to get in there. I know that for a fact. It had to be hard going in, and they didn't care about it. They just put it in anyways, instead of seeing why it was that complicated. So because of that, now it's my turn to play with it. And so when I'm playing with it, like I use stuff like this PB Blaster. Um, PB Blaster is kind of like WD-40, but on steroids, right? And so I use that. I'm going slow, going in and out because you want to be very cautious with this. So I'm going in and out, in and out, in and out. And then eventually it gets to a point where the shit just breaks. It just snaps. And so this is a big problem because this is inside the engine block, right? So this means that if this problem doesn't get solved, this potentially is a whole engine, removal type of thing, just because of the previous person who worked on it didn't work on it properly. And so that's why you should take it to the mechanic ideally. But of course, it's not something that's beyond you to not learn, right? You can learn it. Like I had no mechanical background. I did go to half high school, half technical school to learn these skills and stuff. But really, the learning there actually happened solidify my brain until I actually put my hands on stuff and start really working on cars for real. But um, so it breaks, and that turned into a 3-day job because I had to drill the old bolt out in order to put a new bolt in. The new bolt, it wasn't a problem of putting a new bolt in. So like this case right here, oh. This case right here has bolts, new bolts. So like it's like, okay, snap, boom, I could replace it with that. But I need to take the old one out in order to replace it with that. And so that process took 3 days. And that was just one bolt. And so like the example is it is easy, but it can get complicated even when you know what you're doing. And it's because it's based on the previous person, right? It's based on the maintenance. It's based on how they took care of the car. So there's many variables, right? But these skills allowed me to stick it through them fucking grueling 3 days of just drilling a fucking hole because it was in an awkward place. Mind you, you can't just put the drill like straight onto it like that. It's very complicated. I might have the thing right here actually to show you. I don't know if I do. But it's a attachment that goes onto a drill that allows you to make right angles. And so that tool is something that I keep in a bisque because that's a tool that you don't want to ever take out, really. Because if you have to take out that tool, it's already a bad day for sure. And so maybe I should do a whole like video on just like tool shit because I have so much tools that it's like you'll puke with how many tools I have. Don't ask me how much it costs because it cost me $500. Let's say it like that. It cost me $500 just in case my wife is watching because we don't want her to know the real price of why I paid for this stuff. And so I got very screaming deals, especially on these packouts. No lie, I did get a screaming deal on those packouts. Didn't pay full price for them, but still a hefty price at the same time. So all in all, basically just experiment. Like get into things that you don't know and learn it. Like you're not going to know it, you're not going to be good, you're going to probably be trash at it in the beginning. And then eventually you'll find a way of how to do it and you'll learn how to really make way in this thing. And like if I quit, 1 year in or so, I wouldn't have met my mentor who taught me a lot of the mechanic game, right? But even so, it's like that there's not much to learn in 1 to 2 years. Like there's so much stuff that you have to do on a car that you can't learn that shit in 1 to 2 years. You need to like put a decent amount of time in order to like really learn the craft. And it's like you could gain a lot of experience, right? In a short period of time. It's like if you build a car yourself from scratch or from basically nothing, right? No engine, let's say it's a roller. A roller is or shell is a definition of a car that has no engine, no transmission. So it's a roller. That's what we call it. And so you could grab a roller, fix it up, build it from the ground up. That's even easier though. Imagine a car that you had to remove the engine out and then put the new engine in, whatever. So like the more fucked up the car, basically the more experience that you'll gain. And so I've had to work on a bunch of fucked up cars. So that's why I gained a lot of experience quickly. So when it comes down to this stuff, you have to go ahead and experiment and really dig into different things that you don't know. You don't know until you actually do it. Like I didn't know, like I knew like I wanted to tinker with cars because I enjoy cars, but I didn't really know until I actually did it. It's like, do I love this? I don't know. Let me work on the car that I really love. And that'll prove if I love this. Because if I love this, then I'll figure the shit out to finish this car. And that is definitely a video for another day. That's actually probably like an hour long or so video because there was a lot of stuff to be done on that car. It's a Datsun 240Z, in case you guys didn't know. If you go to my Instagram page, you'll probably be able to see like bits and pieces of when I did work on it and stuff. It was a little while back. But anyways, I hope you guys like this video. You don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We do this every day at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I tell you something about my experiences of life, and hopefully sharing my experiences with life helps you in some type of way. Because at the end of the day, I know for a fact that there was somebody's story that impacted me. Right, one of the times that um, this was way back in the day, fucking dang, 10 years ago, right? So 10 years ago, or longer than that actually. Um, I seen this video from Bradley Martin, and Bradley Martin, if you guys don't know, he's a brawler guy, and he's really a gym rat, right? And so he has, um, unfortunately, his father is no longer in his life through due to certain circumstances. But him telling his story about that really impacted me on like how to go about life, right? Basically, at a certain capacity at the time, it was like something that I needed to hear. And as a bastard myself, of not having a father around for me, I mean, it was really eye opening for me to see that, right? And so knowing that this story of this guy, right, it's random. Like he's not by me. He doesn't live right down the road or anything like that. But his story was able to make an impact in me, to make me change course or find some information, inspiration, motivation, whatever you want to call it, discipline, like whatever you want to call it. But remember, it's like it takes repetitive action in order to get good. Even though I'm here every day at 8 p.m., it's like that doesn't mean that I could get good by just practicing. I need to articulate myself better. Every time I'm speaking, I'm like, there's techniques that I could use. I could slow down, I could pause, I could speed up. But these techniques are stuff that haven't been fully solidified in the way I go about things. And so if I solidify them or if I watch my stuff back, I could reflect on what I'm doing and make it better, right? So that's all this is. The game of life is literally gaining skills, gaining knowledge so that you could better yourself every day. And remember that. So if you like this video, remember, I told you what to do with that. But stay tuned. Tomorrow, same thing. Same thing. I'm here every single day apparently. It's been a good while now. So pretty much this run of YouTube is going to be a real run because of how I'm going about it. Know thyself. I know for me, structure is trash. If I structure it, it's going to be a mess. And that's why I was so inconsistent in the past. But me being able to be here talking with you guys like this, that's what makes it easier for me. So again, if you enjoy this, make sure you let me know. And of course, there's a link in the description box below in case you want to join the school community and be a part of that. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.